Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening and welcome back to another episode of the Business Owner's Freedom Formula Show, where we chat with inspiring entrepreneurs and dig into their highs, lows, and everything in between of their business building journey and learn about how they've been able to achieve ultimate freedom. In today's episode number 18, we have another great guest with us, and we are going to jump right in. We have here Michael Woodward. Michael is the founder and CEO of jumbleThink. He is also the CEO of Woodward-Design Group. He and his team have built over 400 websites for small businesses to large customer portals for Fortune 100 corporations. He has also consulted with hundreds of businesses through the Small Business Development Council in Butte County, California, along with teaching courses on web design development and marketing strategies. His passion is to help individuals and businesses make their dreams attainable through creative thinking, idea formation, and strategy. So that is Michael Woodward from jumbleThink and Woodward-Design Group. Welcome, Michael. How's it going today?
It's going great. It's a beautiful day, so can't complain.
Awesome. Well, same here. Thank you so much for being here. I think with what you've done and what you're doing, I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of the interview. So we are going to jump right in and kind of take a step back and go back to when you first started your first business. Out of your two businesses, jumbleThink and Woodward-Design Group, which one came first?
Woodward-Design Group's been around since 2008, so that was the first one. jumbleThink is a new business, just starting this year. So,
awesome. Well, congratulations on the new business.
Thanks.
And, going back to 2008, how did Woodward-Design Group come to be anyway?
Yeah, so basically, I had been working at a church for several years in Northern California, and a lot of the funding for that church came through the construction world. It was a small town dealing with a lot of issues, a lot of drug recovery issues and things like that. And when the economy tumbled, 2007, 8, and 9, the major donor of the church, he's sitting on several houses, millions of dollars of money that he can't sell houses. And so there's no money to pay anyone because the funding's gone. So I, along with some of the other people that were on staff there, said, hey, we'll volunteer and we'll serve here, but we're going to go find something else to pay the bills so that we can continue serving this community and serving the church. So that's basically what triggered me to start the business. I went to work for a friend of mine in the web world, and between him and another company, we ended up buying out two companies, and he sold his company to me, and basically that's where Woodward-Design Group started.
Awesome. So with Woodward-Design Group, it sounds like you're obviously helping, serving. That seems like a general theme that I've already picked up. Even when working in the church world, you were serving your community before. And then even when they said, hey, sorry, we can't pay you no longer, you did a very noble thing of continuing to serve that church, that community, while also having the ability to go on and venture on your own. So who's kind of your main client today with Woodward-Design Group?
We have a lot of small business clients right now. We've been in a transition in the last 2 years. And so Duarte is one of our big clients. They're a company out of Sunnyvale, California. They specialize in presentation creation for corporations and for organizations like TED Talks. So we work a lot with them from their technical aspect of building out their web properties that are public facing to their clients.
Excellent. Well done. Kudos to you for all of that success. And then taking a look at jumbleThink, what is jumbleThink and how did it come to be anyway? Yeah,
so we're in a transition with Woodward-Design Group. We've been doing web for a long time. I moved back to the East Coast to be closer to family. My wife and I, we have 2 young children, and we really wanted to be closer to family. When we were in California, our closest family was Phoenix. So a day trip away. So we decided to move back to the East Coast. And in that, we've been thinking, what do we really want to create? And web is awesome. At the height of our business, we had 13 people on our team. And we had clients globally. And we've just been in the process of rethinking, what do we want to create? Do we want to stay in the web world? Do we want to do something different? And so to explore that idea, I started a thing called jumbleThink. And it right now in its infancy is a podcast to share the stories of dreamers, makers, innovators, and influencers on how they got to where they're at, what they're doing, and what their future looks like.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like an exciting way to help you figure out where you want to go next as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and you also mentioned in the intro that I read, you also you consult with small business as well. You sound like a very busy man. How do you make all this happen?
Well, when I had lots of employees, I had people working for me, project managers, designers, developers, and they carried the workload. In the move, and because of some other things that happened, we've just chosen to downsize our team and go to a contractor, general contractor kind of mentality, where we find the best people through relationships we have to build a team of contractors to fulfill our clients' needs. So instead of just being a one-man shop, although on paper that's what we are, we have all these contractors that work with us that we have long-standing relationships with. Some of those are former employees that have worked for us. Some of them are other people who we've just sought out and found and built a relationship with. So if we need video work done for a web project, I go to one of two people, depending on the needs, and I say, hey, help us create the perfect asset for our clients and for our customers to meet their goals. And as that kind of strategy consultant and as that lead designer developer, we come in and we manage that project. I come in and oversee that process to help fulfill our clients' dreams.
Awesome. Well, that sounds exciting. And with that model, where do you see the advantages of going to kind of the contractor, subcontractor route instead of having all these employees on staff? How has that helped you kind of, maintain your lifestyle, your freedom, and then obviously still serve your clients better than anybody?
Yeah. So with having captive employees, there are benefits and drawbacks to that. The benefits are that you have people that work for you that are dedicated to the resources of your needs, whether that would be creating a new design for an email campaign or whether that's developing the latest secure infrastructure for a client portal. And that's great. And when we were in California, the drawback to that is the sheer cost of employees. In the development world, we're competing against Apple and Facebook and Google for talent. And a small shop like ours, at the level that we were operating at, we just can't pay a developer $220,000. It's just not in the budget. We're scraping by when we had a developer and we're paying them, $90,000, $100,000, $120,000 because the costs aren't just that payroll. I mean, there's workers' comp, there's healthcare, there's benefits, there's all of these costs. When you move to a contractor base, there are two benefits to that in my opinion. One is that you forego a lot of those cost burdens, workers' comp, providing benefits to employees, everything like that. We can provide a competitive hourly rate to those contractors or per project, depending on their needs. And the other thing is let's say we have a project and the right solution is, let's say, Squarespace. Well, we don't need a developer that's developing massive apps. We need somebody that fits that need. But then we have a client come in and they need a custom portal built. Well, in that case, what we need to do is step back and say, what are the right team members to build that solution? With contractors, we can do that. With employees, we're basically working with the skill set that we have in-house. And so that's one of the benefits. Each are awesome, but each have drawbacks too.
So it sounds like, ironically, you actually have the ability and opportunity to serve your clients even better by going this route, because you have the ability to pick the ideal person for that job instead of being confined to what you already have on staff.
Well, it's not just hiring the right people, although that's a big key to it. The other part of it is that for a client's needs, they may come in and we get a lot of questions. Hey, can you build us a Drupal website? Can you build us a WordPress website? Can you build us a Squarespace website? And the answer is yes. And then people say, well, I need WordPress. Well, that might not be the right tool for their needs. And the problem is that a lot of designers and developers, a lot of tech companies from that marketing world, they'll come in and say, hey, we build WordPress sites. But what if that's not the right solution for their client? What do you do then? You either pass on the project, which is a the appropriate thing, in my opinion, to do, or you do the project and you give the client a subpar solution to their needs. There's a great old word. It's a biblical word. It's called acharit, which means the end result of your action. So for us, we want to start with what is it that you want to accomplish and create a strategy and solution backwards from there so you can reach your goals. If you go, hey, we want to build a solution that we're going to sell millions and millions of products on, well, there are solutions in the commerce world where that Shopify or Magento or something like that are enterprise level solutions. And somebody might go, well, what about WooCommerce or what about Squarespace? And those are great tools, maybe not the right tool for that case.
Awesome. That is definitely good insight for any small business owner out there. And kind of alluding into that, obviously you work with a lot of small businesses and their websites. What do you find in general is kind of their biggest needs to help them kind of take their business to the next level when it comes to their website and back end and technology and all that good stuff?
Well, I think the biggest hurdle is making them realize that for a website to be successful, they have to know what that website's going to do for them. So a lot of times a client will come in, can't you just build me a website? Well, yeah, we can. But is that website going to accomplish your goals? And until we talk about what you want that to do for you, and until you have a clear idea of what that website's going to be used for, is it just a business card for your business? Is it going to sell products? Is it a lead gen that you're going to use with a social media campaign? How is that asset going to be used to your benefit? And a lot of people approach it and say, hey, we've got a pretty website, but will it accomplish your goals? I always tell clients, and I think this is probably the second hurdle that I have to come over with clients, is that for me to do my job well, I don't care what my client wants. I really don't. What I care about is what do their clients want? And that should be the same thing as a business owner that they're thinking. They could have a website that looks beautiful, that has all of these moving parts using JavaScript and other technologies. But if that gets in the way of the client's experience, just because it's cool doesn't mean it's functional. So there's this balance between function and beauty. There's this balance between cool factor and sustainability of making that a tool that accomplishes goals. So for us, getting our client to start thinking about what is it that I want to achieve from this website and what are my consumers going to want to do with it? And start thinking outside of themselves and what they like or dislike, and start thinking about what their consumers want and what they like.
That's great. And I think it kind of goes back to the same idea you said you want to start with the end in mind, which I'm a huge proponent of. Figuring out where you want to go and then work your way backwards. What's the right tool to get there instead of building a very beautiful, bright, shiny object tool and then realize that that doesn't really get you where you want to go anyway. So always thinking one or two levels ahead. And in this case, what is actually going to get your customers to, actually make a transaction with you? So with that being said, I know you do more than just design. Obviously, you're a consultant, you're a strategist. You're really helping them build a business versus just, hey, I need a WordPress site and I need it done this way and I need it done by next week.
Right.
So during all that consulting, what are some of the quickest things that you found that owners can do to kind of jumpstart their business more than just what they can do on a technology level that you've kind of run into? Yeah,
audience is hero. So identify your audience. In the world of podcasting, they call it an avatar. In the world of marketing, it's your key demographics. So you find out who your audience is and tailor your message to what they need to hear to buy from you. A client for me, a lot of times when I meet with them, they just want to know I can solve their problem. They could care less about the platform they're on as long as it meets their goals. So if I were to say you're approaching a new project and you don't know where to start with who is your ideal client? Who's your ideal customer? And get to know them as much as you can. Figure out everything about them. And the second thing is write down a list of quantifiable goals. Do you want to increase your sales by 10% this year, 20%, 30%, 1.2 million, $100,000? What is that goal? I want to increase my social interaction with my customers to give them a better service experience. Quantifiable goals that then you can measure as you're growing and changing, so you can make real successful strides instead of just shooting for the sky and hoping you get somewhere. And that's the thing is goals until they're written down and until they're narrow aren't really goals, they're ideas. And ideas are great. They're the launching point for creating strategy. But if you just start with an idea, you're never going to really get to a fulfilled product that meets the end game goal.
Awesome. Everybody out there, write down your goals, figure it out, and then using, I think, that same idea of, if that's your goal by the end of the year, work your way backwards of how are we actually going to put a plan in place to make this happen, instead of just shooting for the sky. And, that's great, but you actually need a strategy and a plan to figure that out. So, our show, obviously, we're all about freedom, all about systems, all about processes. And with what you've been able to build, and now you've moved across the country and you're working with people all over, the country or the world to help you, serve your clients. What kind of systems do you have in place, to help serve your contractors as well as your clients, to make sure that you have that good balance with freedom as well?
Yeah. So one of the tools that we're really living and dying by right now is a tool called 17 Hats. And 17 Hats is kind of a very broad tool that allows you to do a bunch of things. It allows you to manage your communication with your customers. It allows you to manage your scheduling. It allows you to manage time tracking and milestones and project goals and contracts and invoices and all of these pieces that are critical, especially to kind of a solopreneur or a collaborative type environment. So that's one tool that's really good. If you're looking for contractors or a way to manage your contractors, there's a great tool called Upwork. And we use that, whether it's to find contractors sometimes to fill out a team need for a specific project. But we'll also use that if we're bringing in a contractor that's not on that platform. We'll use that to manage our transactions with that contractor. We'll use that to manage assets and communication with that contractor, and also manage the time, so that we can really have a high-level way to manage what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Nice. Definitely love Upwork. For a lot of people out there who are a solopreneur or even have a small team and you're thinking, man, I wish someone on my team could do X, Y, and Z. You can find somebody on Upwork, you can vet them. They've got reviews. And then, like you said, you can manage the actual project through Upwork, pay through Upwork, all that good stuff. So you don't need to hire an employee, but you can, always find somebody that is the expert in what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So Upwork is awesome. Excited to hear that you guys are using that as well on a bigger scale. So kind of bringing us to the now.
Yeah.
You've got jumbleThink going on. Obviously you got Woodward Design Group. What's the future plans for Michael Woodward and then all the businesses you're building?
Well, I think one of the things that we want to move away from is just building websites. Building a website is a waste of time if you don't have an understanding of what you want to use it for. And I think a lot of customers come in with the expectation of, we just need a website. Everyone tells us we need a website. What do we do with it? And we want to move away from clients that don't have an understanding of what that tool is going to be used for them. We want to make sure that my wife and I who run the business, and then, that's really the team that's at the core of the vision casting. We want to invest into things that change culture, civilization, and change the world around us. So we want to find those customers that are going, we believe in our product and we want it to impact the world at a larger scale. So that means that we're working with some nonprofits now that have a global vision for what they want to do. That means that we're working with corporations that say, hey, we believe in the social aspect of what we're doing. The other thing that we really want to do is start this concept of moving away from Woodward Design Group and more into jumbleThink. So removing that Woodward Design Group brand, bringing some of those things under the jumbleThink brand, and launching something called idea camps. So what those would be for people that have an idea or a dream or a concept. They could come in for a day, a week, or a weekend, and we would have like summer camp for these people. But there's lots of fun things going on. You got these cool events. Maybe it's going out on an exotic car trip where you've got Porsches and Lambos and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe it's bringing in a band and having music going on. And then tying that into a concept of using this to start creative juices and start thinking outside of the norm and rethinking everything that you're approaching that idea from. and doing it in a collaborative standpoint. I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things for anyone in business or anyone that's a dreamer or has ideas is being isolated. So if we can create that community where people come in and spend a couple days with like-minded people who are innovating, who are thinking, who are dreaming, and saying, let's together figure out how we can be more creative. It's kind of like these hackathons that coders do, applied to dreamers, and then bring in people who are specialists in innovation, who are specialists in idea creation, who are specialists in transforming industries. Maybe it's somebody that's transforming how we approach education, or an executive who's coming in and changing how we manage accounting on an online world. Bringing those people in to share the concepts of how they've overcome their obstacles, how they've overcome their fears or the things that have held them back to moving into a place where they've created something special.
How cool is that? Sign me up for summer camp. I'm in.
Okay.
That's a really interesting concept. Just from the inside out, even just thinking about, where you want to go next, and building websites is no longer fun in the sense that, people just, it's become more or less a commodity. Just, hey, I need a website versus, hey, I actually want to impact the world. And you can provide that vision, that impact, that experience to help them do that. I think that is definitely more rewarding. And I definitely think you got some good ideas for the dreamers themselves. So thanks so much for sharing that insight as well, and really kind of painting that picture of what people's websites need to do. All of our listeners are small business owners, entrepreneurs, and a lot of times, especially on the local level, if you're not in the online space, it seems like at the local level, websites are just a forgotten thing. Like they don't, they have one, like you said, but they don't really utilize it to actually grow their business, which I think if they use it for a tool like that, kind of using some of the tips you've provided, I think that could definitely help, because I know even as a consumer, when I go to a local business's website, there is much to be desired. So I know from a very small scale, I can feel your pain there. So, well, Michael, I mean, you've done so many cool things, and you've shared so much, good insight to our audience, but as you know, all good things do come to an end after all. We are all about freedom on the show, so we don't want to take up too much more of your time or our listeners' time. But before we sign off, we do have plenty of time for our rapid recommendations for all things related to systems, automation, and freedom. So as you know, we got 6 different topics here. You're going to give our listeners one thing to go check out, or one thing to inspire them in those topics to get them taking action today. So the first things first is one book that you would recommend our listeners check out.
I would have to recommend The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. It is allegorical, kind of something similar to the vein of Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, or something like that, where it's telling the story of a nobody who becomes a somebody, and the obstacles he has to overcome, the challenges he hits, and the way he processes through that. Encouraging book. Anyone that is creating a business or has an idea or a dream, this is like the perfect book to help you go, I can identify with this. Okay, I'm not crazy.
Awesome. So read that book and head on over to jumbleThink to get those ideas. Like you said, it's just an idea until you start taking action. So that book will definitely help you. What about one quote that you live by?
Yeah, there is a guy named Leonard Ravenhill who was an evangelist and revivalist. And he said, the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity.
Well said. I love it. That is a very inspirational quote indeed. What about one tool that we haven't mentioned already that you like to utilize either in your business or personal life?
Okay, so one tool that I'm kind of playing with right now and checking out, it's a new company. It's called And.co, and.co. It is like a hybrid of QuickBooks, much more simplified, or FreshBooks or something like that. It's beautiful. It's really designed for the mobile platform. It's awesome on desktop. So I'm messing with that right now and super impressed with what those guys are doing.
Very cool. We'll definitely link that up into the show notes, and I'll have to check that out as well, because I've been using QuickBooks for quite a while. And if we got something even easier and cleaner. I'll definitely check that out. So thanks for that recommendation. What about one podcast that you like to listen to on a regular basis?
Is it okay if I give two real quick ones?
You can give two real quick ones.
James, for the business world, James Altucher Show, talking with amazing people doing crazy stuff. And from the storyteller side, which I'm really big into narrative, would be The Moth.
Awesome. Haven't heard of The Moth, so I'll definitely subscribe to that one as well. What about one community that you like to hang out in, whether it's in-person, local community, or online community?
It's one that I haven't been involved with in a long time, but it is, from a business standpoint, a great place for small businesses, and that's BNI, Business Networking International. It's a great networking place. It is a membership, but it's all about networking and creating community and also helping each other raise businesses. So really good for referrals and that kind of stuff.
Yes, I definitely recommend. I know we have one here locally in Raleigh that you can go network with. So anybody out there, definitely check that out. BNI will also have it linked up in the show notes. And then last, but definitely not least, one parting piece of advice for a business owner out there who is stuck, burned out, or just trying to get over the hump.
Yeah, take a break. I mean, seriously, I deal with that all the time. I mean, being with the amount of client work that I'm pushing through, with the amount of different relationships I have to manage to get work done, when I get burnt out, best thing I can do, go for a walk, read a book, talk to a friend, but take a break and break the pattern I'm in so that I can reboot.
Awesome. Well said, and totally agree. Even on a bigger scale, I think what you've done with Woodward Design Group too, you took a break, moved across the country, pivoted, reshuffled everything, and, you're still as successful as ever. So the world will be okay if you take a break for an hour or two, go for a walk, go play a sport, go do yoga, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Life will continue on when you get back to work, and you'll probably be that much more productive. So Michael Woodward, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to impart some of your knowledge, wisdom, and enthusiasm to our community. Hopefully this helps everyone out there get one step closer to achieving ultimate freedom in their business and, more importantly, in their life. Before we sign off, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you?
Okay, so we've done something special just for you because we love you.
Buddy, you're awesome. A good man.
So if they go to jumbleThink.com/Paul, okay.
Awesome.
jumbleThink.com/Paul. I am going to have a page there where it's actually already live, that they can go and sign up for a giveaway for that book that I mentioned, The Dream Giver. It's one of my favorite books. It's awesome. They sign up, and they can also check out the podcast there. We're going to be launching some services in the next month on that site. For customers, that's going to be kind of taking what we've done in Woodward Design Group, taking it to the next level for our customers. So some cool stuff happening there, but that's a great place for them to go, engage with us, drop us a note, whatever, and get a free book possibly.
Sweet. Well, you're a good man. Definitely appreciate that. And I know our listeners will appreciate that as well. jumbleThink.com/Paul, or if you are just on Facebook or Twitter, check out JumbleThink, or even on Instagram. So we'll link everything up on the show notes at paulmaskill.com for you. And definitely appreciate Michael taking some time to hang out with us, as well as providing that little book resource. So thanks again for stopping by today, Michael.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Everybody else out there, stay tuned for next week's episode as we dive into another fantastic interview with Doug Parker from Ambitious Radio. And if you like what you're hearing, we'd always appreciate a friendly review, subscribe, and share with your friends who you think might enjoy it as well. So that's all I got. Don't forget, join our free Facebook group at bizfreedomformula.com, where we can continue the conversation with like-minded entrepreneurs who are also listening to the show and putting the plans in place to work less, make more, and achieve ultimate freedom while increasing the value of their business along the way. So until next time, keep rocking, trust the process, and talk to you soon.